The Fallen Angel, a Black Dagger Brotherhood fan fiction. Chapter 7. Mr. X was pleased with the report and the photographs that he'd been shown of this new female that was enjoying the company of the brothers. She will make an excellent target. Keep vigilant around town, and anyone grab her when you can. I can't wait to see what information she has, he gleefully replied. Remy was humming a nonsensical tune the next afternoon as she helped Fritz and the rest of the Dagger with what would end up being snacks for the vampires throughout the day and first meal. You really don't need to help, milady, Fritz said for the millionth time since Remy had walked into the kitchen. You know I like helping, and it's keeping me busy, Remy replied, clutching her side. Fritz pulled her over into the dining room and made her sit on a chair. I know it is coming, milady. Would it not be easier to choose now before it gets too bad? Fritz asked. Yeah, but it's the first time that who I choose is going to remember me the next day. And that's a big deal. If Wrath wasn't mated, he would be the one I ask. He is the king after all. But I love seeing him with Beth. They are adorable together, Remy said with a grin on her face. I'll tell him that when we can escape to our room, Beth announced from the doorway, making the angel blush slightly. I mean no offense, Beth, Remy whispered. None taken. I think that it is commendable that you think so highly of my Helrin, but I do agree with Fritz. You need to pick between Z and Rage soon, Beth rationalized. Remy sighed. I really want to choose Rage. Every time I look at him, all I remember is the rude remarks about how I must be one of the local whores. And that I wasn't pretty. My hair looked like a bird's nest. And other things. Remy trailed off, trying not to cry again. It's the first time that any male, vampire or human, that has made me cry since the whole falling incident. And the fact that I opened so much of myself up to him, it still hurts over 150 years later. Remy trailed off. Beth looked over at Fritz, and they both said, Milady, I do not. It was that bad? At the same time, making Remy giggle at them. Beth rubbed Remy's back. I'm going to have a chat with Rage, Beth muttered to herself, as Remy groaned, doubling over herself. Come on, let's get you back to your room, Beth decided, helping Remy stand and back to her room. Beth closed Remy's door behind her, and as she was walking back down the hallway, she heard a thump and a groan coming from Rage's room. Rage, you okay? Beth asked through the door. No. The smell. It's starting to get too strong, the male finished on a groan. I need to talk to you about Artemis. Can I come in? Beth asked. Sure. It's fading, Rage replied, unlocking his door. Rage had taken a seat on his bed and lifted the armchair for Beth. How much do you remember of your encounter with Artemis? Beth diplomatically asked. Nothing. Just a regular night. No major incidents, Rage replied on a shrug. What about the next night? Finding a blonde woman you had never seen before in your bed and calling her out as being one of the local working girls? And she tried to deny it? Beth probed. That was her? Rage cried, jumping up from his bed and trying yet failing to pull out his hair from the root. I remember her. I dragged her from my bed, tossed her out of the door, and threw a handful of bills at her. When I went back out after dressing for first meal, I found the bills still sitting in the hallway where I tossed them. No wonder she can't look at me. And when I do catch her looking, it always seems as if she's about to burst into tears. Rage slumped back onto his bed. You need to fix this, Rage. She's looking at you and Z to help her, and from what I can see, Remy would prefer it to be you, but she can't seem to get over how you treated her. And I get the distinct impression that Remy would rather have the need and kill her than deal with it, Beth explained. I'll try and talk to her before first meal, Rage resolved. Unbeknownst to both Beth and Rage, Remy had snuck out of her room and thanked her sensitive ears as she heard most of the conversation through Rage's closed door. Like, fuck, that's going to happen, Remy muttered to herself, went back to her room and pulled out an outfit suitable to hit zero sum in later that night. Remy made sure that she was dressed and ready to go as soon as the shutters rose for the night, and dematerialized to zero sum after making sure that she had left her door firmly locked. Ah, Remy, I thought I could walk you down to first meal, Rage stated after rapping on the angel's door. A few beats later, when the male didn't get a response, he politely knocked again and tried the door handle. Remy, open the door. Rage became increasingly worried when he did not get a response from the angel. Rage, man, what's all the noise? Beth stated as he came out of his and Beth's room. Remy's not answering. Her door is locked. I can't smell her, Rage stated. Fritz, bring the keys, the king demanded, wanting to avoid the door being ripped off its hinges by Rage. The dog dutifully unlocked the door, and Rage flew into the room. She's not here. Where could she be? The male demanded, as the unusual smell of citrus began to become noticeable. Beth looked at Wrath. What is that smell all about? She whispered. Noticing Wrath wrinkle his nose slightly at it as Rage stomped around Remy's room. I've only heard rumours of it. As you know, the male bonding scent is that dark spices smell. But there is another bonding scent of citrus. But I don't know why, Leland, Wrath stated. Tor and Wellesley appeared in the hallway with the other brothers, watching Rage doing circle work in the angel's room. It is the bonding scent when a male chooses a divine being, Wellesley softly explained, as every head turned in her direction. I have not, Rage boomed, overpowering the hallway with oranges and lemons. Wellesley just looked him up and down and stated, huh. Remy told me about it in one of our letters. The only other person to show any sort of link to her and emit the scent was Darius. But she gently let him down. It is a scent when the angels bond each other. And since we are the children of the scribe virgin, males still have the ability to throw off the scent, if needed, Wellesley continued explaining. Fuck. We'd better find her, Earth stated. V, can you check the cameras to see if she went out the front door? I know it's a long shot, Wrath requested. I think try zero sum. I know she materialized home after the last outing, and it wouldn't take much to disappear from inside her room, Beth stated. But the window frames have steel, Vicious countered. And she's a damn angel. I don't think steel will stop her if she wants something bad enough, Beth snapped, as Wrath's mobile phone buzzed in his pocket. All anyone heard from the king was, yeah, thanks, Rev. Remy was having a fantastic time at Zero Sum, dancing with all the human males, but she had not noticed that they were starting to get a little territorial around her. But Trez and I am had noticed, and tipped the Reverend off about it. The bouncers knew when the brotherhood arrived, as the temperature dropped to 20 degrees as the doors were flung open, and 3 of them stood in the doorway, Rage in the centre, Vicious on his right, and Fury on the left, with Butch taking up the space behind them. Remy simply turned around with a dazed look on her face, with a human male licking his way up her collarbone, which made Rage growl from the back of his throat. Easy, Fury warned, with his hand on Hollywood's chest. Get your hands off my angel, Rage growled to the male, which made Remy sober up slightly and push the male off her. When he didn't get the message, Rage grabbed him by the back of his collar and tossed him across the dance floor. Get him out of here, Rev stated to V, pointing at Rage, who nodded in reply. Let's go. Aim for the back door, V grimaced, turning his attention to the argument that was starting to get some volume on the dance floor. Let me go. I want to stay and dance. Why do you care? Remy stated as Rage tries to drag her off the dance floor by the arm. He was only successful for part of the way towards the back door. I care when you can't be seen with humans. They will not be able to satisfy you. Rage roared right back at her, picking her up and slinging her over his shoulder and kicking open the fire escape towards the back of Zero Sum. Put me down! The angel screamed in his ear. When Rage didn't make moves to put her down, Remy went lax over his shoulder and dematerialized to stand in front of the unreasonable male. What the actual fuck? Artemis demanded, as she noticed the citrus scent reach her nose, and took a deep breath, holding back a moan and making sure she stayed upright. Rage could only stare at her without saying anything. After a beat, all that came out was, I want you. I can smell you. And what do you want me to do about that? You have broken my heart multiple times. You killed my owl. I opened my heart to you. I flew with Drakon. I spent a beautiful night with you. And you insulted me the next night by calling me a whore. That I wasn't pretty enough for you. And you just threw money at me. Not caring at all. Artemis raged back at the male, who could only stare at her. I'm sorry, was all that Rage could whisper. Remy threw her hands in the air and stalked back towards the main street and out of the alley. What Remy didn't see was the lesser grabbed her around the waist and bundled her into the back of a nondescript white panel van, and the alley filled with other lessers, keeping the brothers occupied. What the angel did hear was the petrified scream of a helpless male. Artemis!